What's up, guys? I'm Sincere. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about net worth. Let me start out by telling you I am not a finance professional. I'm merely a guy who has been for a long time obsessed with personal finance. I'm also the guy who's tried every single hustle almost known to man. You name it, I've tried it, all in pursuit of this personal finance thing. For a long time, me as an individual, whenever those Forbes articles would come out stating that this person's worth $100 million. Initially, I was under the impression that you would have the ability to go to their home or go to the bank and they would have $100 million in the bank. And it wasn't until later that I discovered that that's not exactly how it's computed and that's not how it works. Net worth is the calculation of one's assets up against the liabilities. Any properties, business, valuable goods up against any monies that they owe in the form of a liability and anything that's outstanding. So you can have positive net worth. That's a situation where you have your assets valued higher than your liabilities, and then you can have negative net worth where you have your liabilities, I don't know if I would say valued higher, but the number is higher than your assets. So that would lead to you having a negative net worth, which is a lot of us, right? When you have debts and you have things that you have outstanding, generally speaking, the average American has a negative net worth. One of the things that I've discovered in my pursuit of personal finance is that there is also a third one where your net worth is actually at zero. That means that your assets and your liabilities are now at zero. And so now you're at the point where you can start running towards building wealth, and then everything is up from there. Why is net worth important, right? I have to admit that it actually is something that was not important to me prior to, I'd say maybe in my 30s, where I really started focusing on building wealth and figuring out how to build wealth. But I can say prior to that, it was just an elusive number that I was under the impression was just associated with showing how rich someone was, but it was not something that was a forethought of mine where I was paying attention to it and making it a primary focus. I wish at a younger age I took out some time to actually calculate it, because one of the things that I understand, and one of the reasons why I believe understanding your net worth is important, is that if you don't track it, you'll never really know if you've hit your target or not. So it's important for you to have at least a roadmap of where you started compared to where you are today, and then you can have projections so you can tailor your approach towards where you want to go. So there's tremendous value in you just understanding where you're at, the same exact way that you want to make sure that you understand where you're at from a health standpoint and so forth. So it's important for you to really understand your financial health and make sure that you're in the right space. But I can say, as someone who, like I said, tried everything in the world as far as hustles and side work, selling this, selling that, it was always just an elusive thing, and understanding the pitfalls that you could really end up getting caught up in, whether it's consumerism or it's you eating out, a trinket or an item. Like for me, I'm an electronics guy, so I'm undercover nerd, at least that's what I say anyway. There were many things that I spent money on, and looking at it today, I could easily say that, man, the amount of money that I would have today had I not spent it on those things, I would have maybe a small fortune, maybe not a big fortune, but at least a small fortune. But those things we can't do nothing about, right? Hindsight's 2020. So one thing that you can do is make it your focus, or make it a priority, to focus from here forward to make sure that you're being strategic in your pursuits. And I'll tell you, me, I'm not perfect, I'm learning through my journey right here in personal finance. And I'd almost imagine that there are many of things that I can learn from you all. I'd be curious to actually understand what understandings you all have as it pertains to net worth, and whether it's even important to you. And maybe even at what point you would told yourself that this is something that I need to just buckle down and focus on. From an individual standpoint, my goal now is to be more disciplined about my spending, and to really have a roadmap to say, hey, this is how much I spent here, this is how much I spent here, and have the ability to say, okay, the opportunity cost of me not spending this dollar right here is gonna cost the future version of myself this amount of money. On this channel, we'll be discussing those concepts. If those things sound interesting to you, subscribe, like the video, And I'm looking forward to reading your comments because I'm curious about what your experience has been. Maybe some of the side hustles that you've done up until now. I'd say that probably for me, the best side hustle that I had was selling incense. I was selling incense at one point, and the profit margins were, I'd say, almost through the roof. I was really making good returns on my money, but then, scalability was an issue. And then I was not really excited about it, so it was not something that I saw myself doing long term. But I'm looking forward to having a more in-depth conversation about this net worth topic and seeing exactly how I can tailor my approach in order for me to really capture all of my opportunities going forward. Look forward to talking to you guys. Peace.